G'day guys, welcome back. It's Robbie Mills here. I just want to share a quick video today on how I grow bananas and how it's different to the way everyone tells you how to do it on YouTube. I just want to give you some background first, how I come across this method. We build sheds for a living. We've been building sheds for about 25 years nearly. And in that time, I've also been growing bananas and fruit and veggies as well. This one property I actually got to work on was owned by this Islander couple. These trees were only 6 foot tall maximum and just massive bunches of bananas hanging off the side of them. The way they were growing their bananas was totally different to anything I've ever seen before though. It was very strange, I thought. They just had a lawn backyard. They didn't have any garden beds or anything. They just had a random banana tree planted here and there in their lawn, which I thought was quite strange. And there was another in particular thing that I realised that I have never really seen before, and that it was just one single tree growing. They didn't have any other pups that were much bigger than a foot tall. They dug all their pups out and would only let one tree grow. And I didn't think too much about this at the time, but over the few years that I've thought about this, I can see why they've actually done this. You see, when you've got another few banana trees that have come up as suckers, they take a lot of energy away from the main mother tree. Even though you can support a few other plants off this main tree, you can get away with it. But I'll tell you another reason why I choose to grow one single tree also. See, at the base of each tree, the rhizome area or the root ball is where the new pups will spring up from and create new trees. What happens if you just let these grow, and the way everyone tells you on YouTube is have a mother plant or grandmother plant, a daughter plant and a granddaughter plant, or something like that along those lines. So you got about 3 trees, no more than 3 trees, and that's what nearly everyone will tell you on YouTube, is to have 3 trees growing in one spot. But the problem with that is if you do that, that root ball keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the banana trees seem to grow a bit further apart, which is fine for a little while, but over time you'll find that area will become, of that root mass will become massive. And maintenance on bananas isn't easy. You've forever got to be taking out suckers, you've got to be pruning leaves, and as soon as you let it go, you'll find that the bananas will start taking over. You've got to keep on top of bananas all the time. How many backyards have you seen that they've started off with one banana and they start getting good bananas, and then before you know it, their maintenance has dropped down. They've let a heap of other bananas grow, and then the quality of the bananas gets less and less the more plants that grow in that area. And what else you'll find, if you ever want to start taking out those bananas from that area, you got to get a machine in. You got to get a bobcat in to dig them out. The root mass of these plants is just massive. You'll never be able to dig it out by hand. And that's what I find for most people's backyard. When they just got a smaller yard, they're better off doing it the way that I do it, and that is grow one single plant, keep removing all your suckers and putting your suckers into pots. All the energy in that area can go into the production of your tree and into the production of your fruit. And that's why I think when I saw those trees on that property, those banana trees, that the fruit was just so massive. The only time that I don't remove suckers is when the tree's fruiting. So while the tree's fruiting, don't remove any suckers, because that can upset the tree and bring in disease or a bit of stress that's going to affect your bananas, which is fine because you'll find that the suckers won't grow too big over that time period anyway. After your tree has produced the bunch of bananas and you've cut it down, what you want to do then is cut your tree right down to ground level and dig your root ball out with a shovel. It's quite easy to get out when you've only grown one tree. But if you've grown several trees there for years and years and years, that root ball is going to be so hard to get out. Once you've dug that root ball out, you'll find there's a bit of a hole there because it takes up quite a bit of an area. Then you'll have to backfill this hole with some nice new fresh soil. And then those suckers that you've dug out previously and you've got in pots, you've got them up to a size where they're ready to plant back in the ground. So by this time, plant one of them suckers back in the ground, right where you had that other banana. That way your root ball is not going to get massive and massive and massive. And you can really pinpoint the spot where you want to grow that tree. Because if you leave that big root ball there, your trees will pop up on the side, especially for areas in your backyard where you haven't got much room. You don't want bananas to take over. You just want to grow one single tree without all the mess of all the extra banana trees growing. Another great reason for doing this method for growing one tree at a time is you can just grow one tree. You don't have to have the space to grow several trees in one location. You might be very limited for your area. So you only need the room for one tree and you can pinpoint the location perfect. You can see on my tree you've got here that I'm growing that it's got no suckers. It's got a couple of little ones at the back. That's because I've taken them all out. I can really pinpoint that area. I've put it exactly in the middle of my garden bed, exactly where I wanted to plant it, and just one tree. I know it's never going to spread. I know it's never going to grow into a massive root ball area that I'll never be able to dig out. These are some of the suckers that I've taken out. And these are what you call, both of these are called sword suckers. You'll get two types of suckers. You'll get a water sucker and a sword sucker. The sword suckers will have these really pointy leaves when they're young. This one had pointy leaves too. And you'll get other ones that start off and they've got really round leaves. They are the water suckers. The water suckers are a really inferior sucker. You don't want to replant your water suckers. You want to plant your sword suckers. See how thick these are for how young they are? They're very thick, very vigorous growing, and their root system will be a lot stronger than a water sucker. The water suckers you'll find will grow really skinny and tall, and they tend to getting blown over by the wind, and the quality of their fruit's not going to be as good. So have a good look at your suckers when they come up and just check and see whether they're going to be a sword sucker or a water sucker, and just keep your sword suckers. This bunch of bananas has recently come out. It's got 104 bananas on this, and these will grow a lot bigger. I've just got it tied back a bit because I know that that bunch of bananas will get quite heavy. This is the second flag leaf, which is a short leaf. And that's the first flag leaf there. So your tree is going to tell you when it's about to produce fruit. The leaves start standing a lot more upright. When they're younger, the leaves will hang down a lot lower. But when it gets close to producing fruit, your leaves will stand up a lot straighter. And then you'll get one shorter leaf that comes out that'll stand straight up. And then you'll get a second flag leaf, which is this short one here. And on your flag leaf, you'll see they've got these lines on them. That's like your second flag leaf. So you'll see that coming out first. There's one here that I can show you. This is the second flag leaf. That's the shorter one there. See how that leaf is shorter than all the other ones? That one at the back. And then this one's a second flag leaf, and it's got those lines on it. And then behind that, you're going to have your bunch starting to come out your flower. So this one's just about to set fruit as well. No suckers on this one either. Just one small one at the back. And I'll just let them grow now. I won't cut them out while it's fruiting. But after that's spent and that bunch of bananas is ripened, I'll cut it down at base level and I'll dig the root ball out. You'll find this root ball is only about 600 mil round at the moment. It's going to be very easy to dig out with a shovel. But as soon as you leave them there for years and years and keep letting more and more trees grow, that root ball becomes massive. And you'll end up with your trees moving. Soon there'll be one over here or one over there. You know what I mean? Or one will be trying to come up outside your garden edge. And you don't want that. This way you can pinpoint exactly where you want to grow your bananas. All the energy can go straight into your bananas. And you're not going to get bananas take over, which you've seen so many times. We've all done it. We've all grown bananas that way before. But this is a method that I reckon everyone should do, especially if they've got a smaller backyard. Haven't got a lot of room. The other option too is replace where you pull out your banana, replace it with a pawpaw, because they've both got about the same lifespan cycle. Where you grow your pawpaw, cut that out after a couple of years, after it starts getting too tall, replace it with a banana, because they both like the same areas. Full sun, one of the hottest part of your yards. Your pawpaws and bananas, a perfect tree to swap out for each other. That way you can just alternate every couple of years what you're going to grow in that spot. That way it'll draw different minerals out of the ground, and it won't keep taking the same nutrients out of the ground. And I really suggest that everyone just grows dwarf bananas. These aren't a super dwarf, they're just a dwarf. The super dwarfs are a lot shorter again. I don't really recommend growing a super dwarf, but I just love these dwarf bananas. They don't grow massively tall. You can grow them in a small area. They still get full-size bunches of bananas off them. You don't have to worry about getting up ladders to pick the fruit. You don't have to worry about the fruit smashing down when you cut it, and you can't hold it when you're up a ladder. How many times have you seen that? I'll never grow full-size bananas again that grow, you know what I mean, 10, 12, 14 foot tall. Look how tall these are. It's a 6-foot fence, and the main structure of the tree is only about 5 foot. Everything is at reach. I've been able to clean up these flowers off the end. After all these bananas push out, I always just take off those flowers off the end, just so it can't hold any mold anywhere, and just cut the flower off at the end. When it comes to fertilizing these trees, you really just want to mulch them heavy. I've got wood chip and some really nice mulch on the bottom here. I give them plenty of nitrogen fertilizer, dynamic lifter. And when they start getting up to about 5 foot, you just want to back off on your nitrogen slightly and just give them a bit more phosphorus and potassium. And that's just going to encourage roots and just put a bit more strength into your flowers, so your bunch of bananas. You also want to use dolomite for the magnesium, just to help draw up those nutrients. And you also want to put calcium in your soil, so I always add lime. Plenty of lime. I use that right through my gardens everywhere. You talk to any farmer and they'll always tell you one of the most important things you'll want to put in your ground is lime for calcium. Because every plant needs calcium for cellular growth. Without it, they just will not grow nowhere near as quick. But just remember, after you put your lime down, that's going to make your soil a bit more alkaline. But banana trees really like a bit more acidic soil. So what you want to do, about a month after you've put your lime down, come back with some garden sulfur and mix some garden sulfur through the top of your soil just to balance it back out, just to bring it back down to a bit more acidic. And you'll find your bananas will love it. This area here on the leaf, see it's got that slight little bit of red, that's fine. But if you find that starts becoming really red, like a real dark red there, it needs more nitrogen. These plants are super hungry plants. Out of nearly all crops, these are the ones that'll take the most nutrients out of the ground. You can feed them everything. It's very hard to over fertilize bananas, and they need lots of water too. So plenty of compost. You see the roots coming up through this. They just love it. Beautiful white roots coming up through this compost. Just everywhere. They just eat so much. They're just such a hungry plant. And you really just want to keep an eye on your plants and just make sure they've got nice green leaves and no diseases. If you've got funny looking leaves, you know there's something going wrong. You just want to make sure they've got a nice, decent colour green to them. If they've got a nice colour green to them, they're doing well. Rightio guys, well, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you've learned something. It might even make you think about how you're going to grow bananas in the future. Please subscribe to the channel and tell your friends about this different way of growing bananas, because I think it's a definite way to do it in your own yard, especially if you've got a small yard. This will be the only way that I'll ever grow bananas from now on. I won't grow several plants, I'll just keep them single. That way I can always move that area, change that area if I want to, put in a different tree very easily in that area. And I think it's just the way to go when it comes to grow bananas. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Catch you later, bye.